And the fight at the Texas border is causing some division here at home. Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins wants the city to shelter migrant children, but not everyone's on board with this. So let's get over to News 8's Teresa Woodard. She joins us live from the newsroom with more on the reaction here in Dallas County. Teresa?
Yeah, well, Judge Jenkins does want to offer temporary shelters in Dallas County that he says would provide better living conditions than what these immigrant children are currently in. He says tent cities and former Walmarts are just not acceptable. So he has identified one middle school in West Dallas and a field house near Fair Park as potential sites to open as temporary shelters. He's also looking for people who own campgrounds and corporate retreat facilities to offer up their sites. He's reached out to superintendents across Dallas to see if additional school sites might be options. However, some activists are saying Dallas should not get involved. They worry bringing children here might just prolong the process of getting them reunified with their parents, their guardians, or their federally approved sponsors. Now, also today, State Representative Jason Villalba of Dallas called on Governor Greg Abbott to stand up to President Trump about the practice of separating families.
My plea is to the governor of Texas to speak loudly and clearly on this issue and recognize that Texans believe strongly in keeping mothers and fathers and children together. If he speaks loud enough, that helps the cause, and hopefully the president will recognize that as Americans, we do not engage in this kind of behavior.
Villalba says he does believe people who come into Texas illegally need to be sent home, but he says families should be kept together while that process plays out. As for possible temporary shelters in Dallas, Jenkins expects to present a complete list of potential sites to the federal government in the next couple of days, but no formal decisions have been made on whether these sites will actually be used. In the newsroom, Teresa Woodard, Channel 8 News.
Okay, Teresa, our thanks to you.